Where
Oh,
you
there
at
you go.
again?
I'm in
That's
Indianapolis.
right. Are you
Yeah.
from there or no?
I'm an army brat,
Oh,
so
okay.
kind of from all over.
You're a child of the country, I guess.
Yes, I think so. Where are you located?
I'm in Juneau, Alaska,
Nice.
because of my mom's family, and then I was born in California, um, in Southern California, and then I lived in Chicago, living in Washington State, lived in Santa Cruz, California. Yeah, that's about it. And then here,
Yeah, neat. I see we have a lot of comedian friends in common on Facebook. So
it's the
is that
algorithm. 'Cause
oh is
it literally is
yeah,
just like, and now it gets more defined. So it's like you get a lot of Texans, New Yorkers, or people from the East Coast, Floridians, and Ohioans, because those are the people that have been pretty common in my feed.
right?
So you're the first indie, I don't know, Hoosier.
That's what yeah, then I have no idea what that means. So
Hoosiers are the. Are you joking with me or no?
no, I mean, I know it means somebody from Indiana, but like if you
So
ask
the
10
team.
people, they don't know. Yeah.
Oh, so Hoosiers
Yeah,
are
yeah.
basically anybody from Indiana. They're, I don't know
Yeah.
what a Hoosier is literally, but like it's the term that the state residents get.
Right. And we don't know the origin of it is what there's a joke I heard that it was somebody approached a fort in Indiana and somebody said, "Who's there?" And they thought he said Hoosier. And
That's
that's nobody knows. Where
yeah,
nobody knows.
that's pretty
Yeah.
American.
So what do you do up in Juneau?
Right now I work at a restaurant.
Um, Nice.
I'm pretty b- I'm pretty boring guy. That's why I do this.
Well, and you get to hang out with your granddaughter, so
I
that's
do. I love that. And I drive my wife nuts. Like we hang out and I drive her nuts because I've been getting like tattoos a lot, and so she's just like, and I'm like, at least I'm not a dope fiend or an alcoholic, but she
great.
still's like, what the fuck? Why are you? And I'm like, I'm like in my early 50s, so it's like time crunch because when I'm in my 70s, my skin's gonna get all loose and I'm not gonna be able to do this shit,
Yeah.
or so I just want
And
to get it done.
it's like after you get a tattoo, you're already thinking about what the next tattoo is gonna be.
Yeah,
So,
right, and when I was
yeah,
younger, I'm glad I didn't get the ones I originally wanted to get because all the all the warnings you get from, like, traditional tattooing of, like, don't get friends, don't get certain, band names, and it's like
right.
a lot of it's ended up being true, so now I just
That's what my tattoo artist says. He's like,
yeah.
"Don't get, your tattoo of your husband's name because 'cause you're just gonna get divorced."
You know what? I would say that normally, but my wife and I, we already got matching tattoos, and we're gonna get a couple
Yeah,
more, and I don't I know I can't see the future because I can't foresee the future, but we've been through a lot, and,
mhm,
um, I don't have any questions, I guess, I'm not gonna
right.
be one of those guys that, like, has names on me and then literally gets them scratched out and then puts the new name in because 'cause I've seen that shit and it's just ridiculous, but
Yeah,
so
yeah. I just got this tattoo not too long ago. I don't know if you
nice.
can see it,
Hold
but,
on. Can you do it again? My picture is in the way. Oh, wow,
yeah,
what is
it's behind my ear, and it drops down a little bit, and
is it
I'm
chandelier or
hoping
no?
to it's what?
Is it a
It's just
chandelier?
it's like a mandolin, a mandala, and then at the end, it's the Thai symbol for kindness.
Oh, nice.
So
Are
I just
you
combined those 2.
are you Thai?
Yeah, I was born in Thailand. My
Nice.
mom is Thai. My mom lives in she's retired back to Thailand, so,
She's smart
uh,
right now. I wouldn't be here.
she's been gone a while, that's
Yeah,
for sure, and, she, no, she's surrounded by her family, so
good.
and yeah, yeah,
That's how it should be, right?
for yeah, I mean, that's kinda well, yeah, once we were all grown and her grandkids are grown, so
Right.
now it's just great grandkids, and
Oh,
she's
wow.
got yeah, so she's got a farm and family. That's kind of all she needs. She wanders back to the states every few years, but
Right.
she's happy, so that's all I want for her.
Yeah. Does she live off, like, the food she grows?
She does a lot. She lives in outside of a city, which
Nice.
when I was a kid was like a village,
Right.
but she does live in rural. She's got a really big farm. They grow just lots of fruits and vegetables. She has a fish farm, which is
Nice.
just like a giant swimming pool
Yeah.
with fish.
Right.
It's really not complicated, and she's got lots of chickens.
Nice.
So what else do you need? And but she wanders into the Thai version of Walmart every once in a while to get
Nice.
things, and yeah,
It
she's pretty self sufficient.
My daughter's been there, like, a million times. She's one of
Oh
those
yeah,
she's a lot of like a lot of white tourists in America, they love Thailand is a really popular tourist destination.
oh
Um,
yeah,
and,
and it's inexpensive too.
and
So
it's and the food, like,
yeah.
so, like, we eat Thai food, we got a couple Thai restaurants here.
Mm,
Actually, and it's people from Thailand who actually make the food, so it's pretty close, to authentic, but, like, I think eventually I'm gonna get pad thai chicken tattooed because it's, like, one of my favorite Thai food.
it's good. Oh
Like,
yeah,
well,
it's good.
the thing I love, and then you could say this about, like, a lot of Asian food I noticed, is the combination of nuts with sweet and
Hmm.
vegetable. You can find that in Thai, Chinese, Japanese food, and, like, this shit just I'm like, whoever came up with that, like, arrangement is a genius.
Yeah,
It's tasty and, like, nutritional and, I don't feel gross after eating it. I don't feel
yeah,
bloated,
yeah. It's very
so
flavorful.
I love
So
it.
yeah, it's good. She always cooks a lot. That's for sure.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
not good.
so thank you for coming on, Val. This is kind of what we're going for. Um, now what do you do? Like, what's your thing? Like,
I'm a stand-up comedian,
right.
and I also manage my house, which sounds like a weird thing to say, but we rent out our house for photo shoots, commercials, television, documentaries, and
Wow.
so it's like managing a little event center because you have to keep your house very clean and
Right.
very well kept. And sometimes I source things that are period specific for the house. If a like a shooting needs that,
Wow.
I'll help them find it. So it's a 1960s house, and but those are kind of the two main things I do. And since I left my job, and I do a lot of photography as a hobby,
Nice.
and I have a wood shop, so
Wow.
do a lot of woodworking, and that's pretty much it. You kind of since I left the corporate world, I
Nice.
guess. Yeah.
Um, now are you guys located in, like, the suburbs or further,
Um.
or
No, we're pretty much in town. We're not
okay.
downtown, but we're just outside of it, and
Where at?
um, we're on the northeast side of Indianapolis.
Okay.
Yeah, most people, if they're at all familiar with Indianapolis, Binford is a big road that goes
Binford,
through
okay.
it. So we live off of Binford, and we're 20 minutes away from the Speedway, which is the other thing people know, the Indy 500.
Oh,
So
wow,
yeah,
yeah. Oh, shit, I didn't even think about that.
yeah, yeah. So we're not too far.
You guys now Indianapolis, like, you're reasonably close to Chicago, right?
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's like maybe 3.5
Right.
hours. And so yeah, we're kind of, I always tell people, Indianapolis is so central
Right.
for comedy because you can get to Detroit, you can go to Madison,
Right.
Louisville, Cincinnati. And, it's not one of the biggest hubs, but I can get to most places pretty easily. So,
Yeah.
and
I
yeah,
love
and
it.
our airport's, yeah, I like Indianapolis. It's it is just a very interesting town to me. So,
Is it like a is it because like I have to admit to you, like, I'm not a super huge fan of Indiana,
mm,
because I used to live in Chicago and, but I guess tell me, is it a city where you go and you spend the day and check stuff out and, and
yeah, I mean, I've played tourist in my own town,
yeah,
especially when I have visitors come in,
nice.
and so it's it's we're the blue dot in the red state,
Okay,
and there's a couple of the blue dots. Not that that means anything about how the metropolitan area is,
right.
but there's a lot of diversity,
Okay,
and there's a there's a story I tell about my son where when Obama was running for president, um, he'd said something. He's like 12 years old, and we were talking about a little bit about like concerns for his about his success, and my son just whipped his head at me and goes, well, what do you mean he's going to get the black vote? And I'm like, well, yeah, but that's not that much. He goes, well, what do you mean? Because like, it's mostly black people in the country, because because our area was so diverse. He had no idea, because his school, I think, was at the time was like 78% black and 15% Hispanic, and very small. So his whole worldview, and I was like, I haven't exposed you to enough white people. Is what I was just realized, like, as a parent. So
right,
so we live in a very diverse part of town before we moved here, and it's where all the not the g all the I wanna say the good restaurants, but all the ethnic restaurants are on our side of
right,
town, so
right.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm from the
Yeah.
city, and when you say ethnic restaurants, I just assume, oh, the good stuff, because
Yeah,
I'll eat
yeah, I don't
anything.
need to say it that way.
I'll eat anything from any country in the world. Like I,
Yeah.
uh, I almost had seal fat because I have a friend I had a friend at the time that's in Yupik, which are like
Mm.
they're the tribes from like way the fuck up north. When you see
Oh,
people
yeah.
and they don't have igloos anymore, obviously, but when you see people like way the fuck up with polar bears, that's where Inuits are from and all that. I mean, there's thousands of tribes here, but it's just like I said, I'll eat. My wife is native, and so
Mm,
we will have stuff, and she's also part Filipino, so we eat Filipino food.
right.
So it's just we're American, and so I get what you're
Yeah.
saying. Well, that's wild. So you grew up in Indianapolis, I take it.
We moved here, in, I wanna say 1987.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
I was born in 1975,
Okay.
so Um, we bounced around through Asia. My dad was in the military, and then he
Right.
worked for the military. So we lived in Philippines for a while too, before Marcos was overthrown.
Oh wow.
Um, yeah, so we were evacuated actually out of
Oh hell
the
yeah.
Philippines during the overthrow, and we spent some time in Texas, Wisconsin, Michigan, um, Japan, and then came to Indiana. So it's it definitely
Interesting.
is home, but
Yeah.
it's, we moved 7 times in 10 years, so,
Right.
yeah, kinda lived everywhere, but
Right.
no, I always that's where I'm from, and it's where all my kids are
Yeah.
born here, my grandson, my husband was born and raised here, so is definitely my adopted, state, I would say, but
I what
yeah.
I ask is like when you leave, do you miss it?
Um, I mean, that's an interesting question. I miss home for sure, and
Right.
I miss being, around the people it's kind of like you just get used to. I used to travel a lot for work, about 20, 30 weeks a year to India and China and
Wow.
South America. And so you just kind of miss knowing what things are.
Right.
And, but you miss just the places you go and the people you hang out with and
Right.
the stuff you do. So, um, but yeah, I think it's a unique town for me anyways, and
Cool.
it's got everything you need, right? It's got good museums and great restaurants, and it's a sports capital, amateur sports capital of the world, so
Huh.
there's always something going on for sure.
I mean, you gotta tell people that's the state where David Lee Roth's from.
Yeah, I guess so. But who knows who David Lee Roth is anymore?
Uh,
Yeah,
I get it. I know we're the generation where it's starting to slip away,
right.
but I grew up California and I'm a big Van Halen fan, so
Mm,
I always, I'll point that shit out and he hasn't douched out like a lot of
no,
rock stars. I mean, he's not perfect, but when you compare other celebrities, he's
for
he's a
sure.
he's a decent guy. And he became an ambulance driver or an EMT. So
Wow.
compared
Yeah,
to
I did
like
not
most
know that.
celebrities, yeah, and he was in New York too. So
Yeah.
he's like, you know what? I'm gonna be an EMT. And he went and did stuff and people would be like, holy shit, you're David Lee Roth. And it's just like, I am. How you doing? How you feeling?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like ba doo 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 ba ba. How you doing? All right. And then so yeah,
That's yeah, I can't imagine having my life saved by David Lee Roth,
I would
you
have
know.
lost my shit and been like, I don't know if I
Eh,
feel good again because now I'm like starstruck. And he's like 70 with like, a Yakuza tattoo and
yeah. Oh my
yeah,
goodness, that would be wild. I know I used to work in Minneapolis a lot, and a colleague I knew told me the story where when Prince was very devout. I think he was Latter Day Saint, and he
right.
would still
Yep.
proselytize. He'd wander neighborhoods and just
Yeah.
knock on the door,
Right.
and it happened to his mother, like
Oh,
my colleague's mother, and she at first didn't know who he was,
nice.
and but so he finally introduces himself with his government name, and then he goes, "Some people know me as Prince," and so she's completely lost her
I
mind.
mean, it's like
But so she's like, yeah.
how you expect me to take this like without like you're Prince, dude, you're a star. Like
Right.
I
Yeah.
can't focus on scripture right now or anything when you're
No.
Prince.
Yeah.
I want
But
purple
she
rain.
was like, "Of course I'll let you in and we'll talk about Jesus. Let's go,"
Yeah,
and anything else you wanna talk about,
right.
sir, kinda thing, but
That's cool.
yeah. Yeah, that would be funny, but yeah, David Lee Roth was a is an EMT, huh?
Yeah.
No, I had no idea. We have a lot of celebrities that some of us just, wanna forget are from Indiana, but some of them, like, for good or bad, like Michael Jackson or David Letterman.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, Letterman is from around here and he went to Ball State University,
Right.
and still to this day he's got a scholarship in his name for C average students
Nice.
because that's what he was. He's
Nice.
like, don't be too successful if you want
Right.
the scholarship kind of thing. So, but
That's pretty cool.
yeah, yeah,
So
I thought that was.
what made you get into comedy?
When I quit my job, I just kind of didn't know what I was going to do. So I, uh, I took a class, which
Yeah.
sounds like such an
No,
overeducated Democrat thing to say, but I took a class and then
a
I just
comedy
kept.
class.
Right. I took like
Everybody
a
does.
6 week class, and then I just kind of stuck with it for a few weeks, and um I had to recalibrate my expectations because I just had nothing. Had no knowledge of how it worked,
Oh,
and
that's
so
good.
I stepped back because I felt like if I don't learn what the business is about and how people enjoy it for one thing, but just to even go have some success. So, and then I came back to it just like that February, just a few months later,
Nice.
and so I that's kind of how it got started. And then once you have a little bit of success where they're actually paying you to show up, not just
Well,
giving you hot dogs and drink tickets, right?
right, right.
Yeah.
I want to ask real quick. So for me, I guess the question I want to ask is like, when because I know what you're saying. I've talked to a lot of comedians now, and getting paid literally anything for doing that is like you've reached a next level because like now they're gonna pay for
Yeah.
you for your. But it's like your goal originally is to make people laugh, and like how what was that like when you first got any laughs? Like, did you get something? Did you get high? Like, not high literally, but did you get like,
No, I know what
"Oh,
you mean.
wow,"
Yeah.
like
Some people do describe it like it's like a drug, right? And, my old job, I was a physicist. So I have these
What?
structured, yeah, I have these kind of structures in my mind
Right,
for short term, I'm just a very structured person. And
right.
so I really want to say it was like a drug or that there was some sort of high, but it was more like, okay, I did it. Check, you know what I mean? Like
Wow.
it was great and I enjoyed it, but I'm like, all right, check the box.
So
What's the next step?
you felt that confident where you're like, "All right, I achieved it, let's go on, like, I'm gonna do the next
Right.
thing."
What's the next
Wow.
thing? And so it's just the way my personality is. I have a really type A personality. And so you kind of make these immediate short term or long term goals and towards success, and you treat as much of comedy as a job as you can.
Right.
Like that's how I approached it, right? And so the things I could control I would do as well as I can.
Sure.
I can't control being a good writer, and I can't control, that's all subjective. But
Right.
you know, so as long as I can show up on time and uh,
Be prepared.
sober, right, and I'm prepared, and I'm
Sober.
kind to people,
Yeah.
and I'm not a drinker, but it's a joke, and people always say, Val, I hire you because I know you're going to be on time sober. You're not going to try to screw a waitress.
Right.
And I'm like, "That's fair." So it's like,
Yeah.
you only have to be moderately funny, but if you have all these other things going for you, you know
Professionalism helps.
right. Yeah, so I thought, "Well, I'll just try to nail that stuff down that I can while I'm learning how to write, learning my timing
What
and how to do stuff on
wait, so
stage."
what physics were you, studying?
Terrible, awful physicist. In fact,
No,
when
but
I
what
I
kind? Like, what
just I was in a I got a physics degree, just a general physics degree that came with a master's program for mechanical engineering.
and
And so,
that's just a general
right, just a
term, right?
broad, right, you're just not that good at it, so we'll just give you this general, and they're like, maybe you should be an engineer. And so I was in the middle of getting my master's in engineering, and the company I had interned with offered me a job. So I didn't finish my master's, but I did it, but I still had this just general physics degree,
Right,
and so I ended up mostly doing, mechanical engineering, and very kind of ironically, I worked in construction for this my company, which my dad, works in construction. All my uncles are in construction. So my dad was like, "You went to school only to come back to construction." Right.
right.
Spent all that time and money. Now I'm just still in construction. But I had some specialties, especially like around flammable fuels and stopping stuff from blowing up and
So, like,
things like that.
chemistry?
I worked for an automotive company. And when you test an engine,
Right,
sometimes you test it to failure,
right,
and you have to put that in a room that room won't fail because somebody's sitting on the other side of that wall. And
right.
so like natural gas, electric vehicles,
Wow,
just kind of in all sizes. They make 95-liter engine all the way down to what goes into a Dodge truck, right? So um,
nice.
it's so I think that's kind of like any other engineers that I know that are in comedy, they kind of
That's a
approached
thing?
it the same way. I know several.
That's
There's one
wild.
touring engineer that he leans heavily into it. He shows PowerPoints for his
Wow.
show even, and there's one that he uses robots on stage, robots that he built
So
to do stuff.
he's like, Carrot Top with, like, creating his own props.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So there's quite a few of us that had you know um, STEM jobs
Right.
before we but I quit my job during COVID, which was
Ah,
hard. COVID was hard for everybody.
right.
And my husband had just we were both doing pretty well in our jobs, but he got this huge promotion. So I was like, maybe I could quit and just do something else. So
Cool.
that's what I did. And comedy and woodworking is what I did for
Nice.
a
Nice.
while. And we moved, and that kind of disrupted my shop a little bit. But
Oh,
yeah, but it's just relocating a wood shop is hard. Yeah, for
right.
sure, if it's just you. So
Did you have, like
yeah.
do you have, like, a belt sander and, like, You have, like, tools to cut out holes, like,
Oh, yeah.
bore out holes and, like, all that shit, like, a full
Yeah. No,
nice.
full shop.
Yeah,
Like, probably I had almost maybe 1,200 square foot of shop at
nice,
the old house, and, I use a CNC a lot just to programmable to cut wood,
nice.
so, um, I was making gaming accessories, like, if you ever do Dungeons& and Dragons,
Right, you're making all
and
their,
then
like, the,
dice trays or DM
nice.
screens and,
Wow.
you
Use
know
your powers for good. Nice.
that's right, right, use my nerdy powers for other nerds. Um, but, I can't say I'm terribly good at it, but I have the patience to learn, so
Wait, don't do that, like, so did you actually sell product?
yeah.
Well, then you're not
Y
you didn't you're not see you can't say you're not good. People are buying your shit. It's all about marketing.
yeah. Our most popular product, though, was door stops.
Cool.
Just wood door stops that somebody's willing to spend 25 bucks on a wood door stop with an interesting saying on the sign, and,
Right.
so for the longest time, that's what paid for the shop was,
Wow.
you know, thousands of door stops.
Did you
There's a
have
hotel
did you have a
somewhere
staff?
in Miami that's got about 500 of my door stops holding their doors open right now,
Did you
so
hire a team? Did you hire workers?
no, sometimes I'd drag my husband into it, especially if I had a big order.
Right.
Um, yeah, I bet. Nope, I was just, slow and steady, and having worked in manufacturing at one point in my career, I just set it up the way, uh I set up a workflow and it worked pretty well for me for a
That's
while, so,
that's pretty cool.
yeah. But, yeah, that's how right now, I'm just kind of, doing more comedy than woodworking, doing a lot of writing, so,
Nice.
yeah.
Um, have you ever written for somebody?
I haven't, like no. I
No?
mean, we have writing groups that sometimes we get together and we help each other write, and, I had written for a magazine, like, submitted articles, which is kinda what I'm doing now, but, too. But no, I haven't ever helped anybody write
Like script,
write
I mean.
jokes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Nope. No, I haven't done any of that at all.
I might well, what kinda are you like a clean comedian or a blue comedian or what would you say?
I am p I'm not quite blue, but I'm still, I'm not clean.
Okay.
Like, I probably only have 15 minutes of clean material,
Okay.
uh, and, most of it's not like it's raunchy or, anything like that. I use a lot of euphemisms, so to
Okay.
speak, but if I was getting hired and they told me a clean show, I probably wouldn't do most of my material, but I talk a lot about my mom. I talk
Nice.
about my husband. We've been married for 29 years, so there's lots of stories. I talk about my kids and my dogs and getting
Just
older,
life, yeah.
and, yeah, just pretty much. And, I'm not topical, like, I don't talk about the news. I don't talk about politics, and, um, I don't really talk about other people that I don't know. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, yeah.
Sorry, my granddaughter's come in. Little
Oh,
stinker.
hi, sweetheart.
Did you hi, Stink?
Oh.
Say hi.
Oh my goodness, hi.
She's 1,500 months or 15 months. Hold on a second. 1,500.
1,500. Yeah,
Hi.
that's okay. I'm 600 months old, so
Right.
yes,
You
hi.
say
Hi,
hi.
can you see the lady in the phone?
Say hi.
Hi. My grandson's about 18 months now,
Nice.
so just a little bit bigger,
Oh my
just a little
goodness.
bit.
Okay.
Look at
I
that
love you.
space.
I love you.
She's like,
Bye
"I wanna see
bye.
what the Gramps is doing."
Right. She's like, I just want to touch, do everything. Bye bye.
Mm.
Oh, we changed your name to Poppy
When?
because Steve says Poppy.
No, she does. She does pop up.
Yes, that's me.
Dude, I don't.
Poppy.
Dude, come on. I earned that.
Why?
Poppy, like, you know why? Because then I feel like you're gonna say Poppy Chulo, and that's like a pretty.
Well, we'll see what she says.
It's Papa.
See,
Papa when she's in home. We go to your house and Poppy, whatever, but it's Papa. You guys just cave so easy. You don't even put anything. But then it makes me
That's
sound
funny.
like a young hip.
Oh,
She's a Papa. See, she doesn't. Thank you for being patient. Yeah, I love you. Bye bye. Okay, whatever, you guys. No, my wife did that. I liked her nickname, and she all of a sudden changed it.
Yeah. Everybody thinks, what are you going to call me?
Right.
When you have a grandchild. And
Yeah.
it's so funny. I'm Nana. I'm the Nana.
You're
That's
Nana,
all.
see?
Yeah.
Now you're not. My wife's now not. She went through Nana, Nani. Now she's not. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
She's gonna
Not
get it
right.
right. She's still learning how to pronounce.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. I love you guys. Bye.
But
Okay.
I picked grandma at first.
Did you? But
And
that
my
didn't
mom
last.
No, my mom was Nana to my kids. And so my mom heard me saying I'm grandma, and she says, "Oh, why you not Nana?" And I'm like, "'Cause you're Nana, Mom." She goes, "No, there could be two Nanas."
See,
And she goes, "Then when I die, then there'll still be a Nana." That's
see,
her.
we're like the opposite. Where like my mother-in-law is Grammy,
Yeah.
and then I'm, because we had to differentiate because it's just like, she's the elder,
Yeah.
so.
Yep, but she didn't. My mom did not care to have it different at all. And she's
I
like,
can't.
"Hey, if he learns Nana, then he'll get it down for both of us, right?" So I was like, "Okay."
I'm saying Papa. I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna stop saying that.
No, hold your ground.
I'm like, I like that shit. I like that since I was like in my 20s when I started hearing different people, with their different terms for grandparents. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
but
People think about it. My sister's is Gigi.
then you have like,
Yeah.
that's her name, right?
No, that's her grandma name is
Oh,
Gigi.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I don't know if she made it up.
Right.
I don't know where she got it from. But
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. What's up, baby?
The other daughter is going to be coming to get her package.
Okay.
Just so you know.
All right.
And we're just taking our car for the oil change.
Okay.
I'll see you in a bit.
Love you. Bye.
Sorry for interrupting.
You're good. Yeah, that's interesting. So let's see. Do you tell like any physicist jokes? Do you make any science jokes ever?
I used to, for sure. I have, especially I would wear a lot of science
Nice.
T-shirts or nerd shirts and tell physics jokes, but no, it's just easier to talk about things that that are personal to me, for me, and I'm such a storytelling comedian, so that. What is this? It looks like. Oh, what's that tattoo of?
Chaos theory.
Oh, I couldn't quite see the lines
I
on
know
it.
it's
Yeah.
blurred, but
Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to get a tattoo from Arrival.
yeah.
Yeah, the heptapod. If you've seen the movie, they have this language that's very inky, and it tends to make this circle with the little inks on it. And so I thought about that for a while. But yeah, it's fun. I had some pretty good physics jokes, but no, it's not something I pull out of the basket anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
not at all.
do you have a favorite theory or no?
No, I'm really not a good physicist at all.
You're
Like
like, I'm
that's
not
why.
a dork. I don't dork out
No,
on
no,
it.
I just seen like I'm no good at it. Like, which is probably why
Ah,
yeah, I worked in this lab and I always ended up being the one that made tools, fixed the tools in the lab, and so I would always scrape by because I made myself useful. Like that's what I was convinced of, was I would get good grades because I would solve somebody's problem, not necessarily because I knew what I was doing. So but So I probably ended up where I was supposed to be, you know, but in engineering as opposed to physics. And but there's still, I mean, physics is such a broad field, you
Right.
know.
Well,
It's there's so many specialties
what
and
what's the can you tell me so like what is the difference between the definition of physics to science?
well, I mean, I'm not sure if I know how to answer that. What
Is
do you
there
like?
isn't, right?
No, it's kind of falls on in the
It's
sciences
it's just
in
science.
my
It's just
mind.
another
Yeah.
term for because I got into the show Big Bang Theory,
Oh
and
yeah.
I watched it religiously, and because I interestingly enough I would remember, and I'd start to remember a lot of lines, and they constantly quoted like all the great physicists because they had like a guy who he was on payroll, he was a physicist, and then they had uh, Maya Balak, I think her name is the crazy
Oh yeah,
Zionist,
yeah. The
the crazy
oh you
Zionist.
yep.
Um, but she is a real. I think she studied physics. I think she went into I don't know. Anyway,
She did some chemistry as
right,
well. Is her I think her
right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you just start remembering the names of the actual people and the jokes they would write would break down shit. So I thought it was like, oh, that's a great way to like, turn the average person into like interest in science because they show it,
Right.
and um so I started just becoming more familiar with the term physicist, and I just for some reason the way they would use it, I'm like, so a physicist is like a superhero where a scientist is like just basic understanding, but a physicist, would go focus on one form of of science
Yeah.
theory kind of thing, right? Or
Yeah. It's like engineers, right?
right,
Because there's, electrical, industrial, mechanical, and on and on. And even within those fields, it's um it's differentiated, right?
right,
So and there, I mean, people have these faux rivalries within the sciences, right? Whereas um like physicists, like for biologists, right? Biologists, some people say as a joke, like they're just observing, right? They're
yeah.
just observing and discovering, but they aren't creating
That was a
anything, right?
running joke on Big Bang
Yeah.
Theory too, like, "Ooh."
Right. So they're just like, all you're doing is discovering and you aren't really creating anything,
Right,
right? Whereas physicists are, especially nuclear physicists, right? They're out there, slamming protons together
right,
and, so they're kind of creating this now and then and instead of just discovering, how DNA and RNA is, they're discovering the way the universe was formed, right?
right,
So it kind of gives them this over inflated sense of importance. And
right,
atomic physicists are the same way, astrophysicists are all the same. And so it's kind of this broad field where it's broken up. Like I'm a general physicist. That's really when I say they just handed me a physics, like because I had no specialty, right? Um, but it's if you take a nuclear physics physicist, for example, some of them they work in the military, right? They work for the
right,
military. They work, and so it's not they're not always just dreaming up shit about a black hole or
right,
far off galaxies. And um, I think it- yeah, I don't really I don't buy into those rivalries except industrial engineers. Those guys are their initials are IE, so we always say they're imaginary engineers, right? But it's just this faux rivalry. And my husband's a biology PhD, so it's like I always rag on biologists because I live with one.
right.
Um, So I tell them I don't believe in it. I don't think it's real. Like I think it's not a real science, but um, it's just for fun, you know.
Yeah,
And I would say I don't know how to rank physicists. Like geophysicists are probably they might be the lowest rung
but
on the ladder, you know. But who it's all
but
made up, you
but who
know.
does that? I mean, it's like it doesn't matter. It's all part of a bigger thing,
Yeah,
and
it's just like
like
Big Ten rivalries. Like
right,
nobody knows where it started, and it
right.
has no real meaning. So
I I judge off a character, and after Epstein, it's like I don't Hawkins and what's his name? Not Lenny Bruce. God, sorry. Stephen Hawkins hung out with him. There's another guy
mm,
right now who's I think an astrophysicist. Can't remember his name. He was on Bill Maher. Um, but some of these
mm.
guys, um, oh, what's his name?
Not Neil deGrasse Tyson. I think he
No,
had
no,
come out and
no.
said,
He's cool. He's
uh,
safe. He's not
yeah,
gross. But it's like you kind of just I think the stereotype of just like with wealthy people that you assume people in science are they're good people and they have honest and genuine intentions with their work. And then you learn about Oppenheimer and what they did with him and then and all this shit and
mhm,
it's so I kind of looking back and then you look at like the history of like NASA and it's like you guys you guys you guys protected Nazis and you had them
yep,
work with Jewish people that you saved and you hid all the black women
yeah.
from
No,
doing it
yeah,
so I mean it's just like I'm sorry it's driving me nuts Chomsky, Noam Chomsky. And it's like
mm,
it's and he's like he's like a no, what is he considered? He's a linguist. So but the point is like these people you were you assume like I always assume well I trust scientists over religious people because religious people are crazy and they and science is based off of fact and you're just like nah they're not like they can
nope.
contribute to evil
They're just,
you know
they're in some ways they're the example of the ends justify the means. Sometimes science,
right
especially early science, right when there weren't really I don't want to say rules, but there weren't
there weren't
acceptable standards. And so in some ways they were constantly saying the ends justify the means, right? Like we
right
may have and so testing on homeless people or what they did like the medical tests that they did with the Tuskegee Airmen, right? It's just you can there's a never ending list of atrocities, I mean,
right
basically, that scientists have done in the name of science, right? But I think if comparing things to like religion, right? And it's such a different mindset of why
right
whenever religion's gone wrong or gone bad,
right
they use, the sometimes that is for the justification. But any profession,
right
right? You can anything, advertisements, right? Pharmaceutical companies. It's just the same people that will have that their moral compass is just broken, you know.
right
And but then we have every discipline we've built upon that. I just don't think you're going to find a discipline that isn't built on somebody's horrible acts, right?
so and I'm gonna go back to Big Bang Theory because there's one character there's the philosophy and I don't know who came up with it but basically like use your powers for good and
Yeah.
that was actually interest that was actually introduced because it's like somebody had to actually say that and create that so scientists can be in general be like look you got to use your shit for good like seriously like
Hmm.
because it's I know I'm not explaining it very well but that's how it that's how I can easily explain it just
Yeah.
um it's like the like what's his name the Edison, he was a piece of shit. He stole all his stuff, you
Yeah.
know, and he basically dicked over his entire staff, you know, and but you
Mhm.
know, it come up Henry Ford, you know, like
Yeah, there's no
it's
clean, perfect
right,
person out there who's been a world builder. They
right,
build their own the world, and I love American history, right? I love this country, right? But even who we hope is the purest support pure George Washington, right? It was he lived in the time that he lived, and the things that were done back then would not fly right now, and so it doesn't make me change what I think he accomplished. But it's hard to you can't there is no pure person out there.
right,
And yeah, and so it's you just hope he did the best he could in the time that he lived in. And
right.
I hope, right? But yeah, there is no I do believe a lot in science because there's a method to come to your conclusion. And so that's why I lean more towards believing in science and medicine and things like that as opposed to religion. But there's just too many variables in religion for me to choose that path,
My
right? So
my thing is with religion is that because it's faith based that
yeah,
you know you take religious texts and I'm not going to disregard the Quran or the Torah or even the Bible because they do mention things that are sometimes historically accurate, you know, the way they and you can
sure,
study.
yeah,
But like to sit there and argue about religion or anything spiritual based or any of that shit is I hate it. You know, I grew up Catholic. My mom always like I grew up Irish Catholic. She was literally the
mm,
stereotypical Irish Catholic. Go to mass, you're gonna go to
hmm,
hell. You know, every fucking thing you do is gonna be, and
yeah,
then you're gone. So you know, but I've learned that, you know, and doing research on history and stuff, you look in religious texts and it's like how I guess my thing, what I'm trying to say, truth overall, and there's a process and you can, you know,
yeah,
but with religion, it's like, well, no, that's it. And this happened. And it's because you believe. And that's because I said it. I just said it. You have to believe it. And it's like,
yeah.
just because
It's
you're
difficult.
I
Yeah,
mean, you're right. Just because you're a minister or you know, a rabbi or an imam, like I don't give a fuck. Like that's great, but you could also manipulate that shit to your will, and
hmm,
that's the issue I have because like with science, like you can't. You have to go look up the shit, and you have to like prove
yeah,
it, and you can't cut corners, or you know people are gonna be like you're
yeah,
calling you out, like this bullshit. So
yeah. It's so open to interpretation. But like you were saying about science, just do some good with it, right? It's could be applied to religion as well. It's like if you have this structure in theos,
right,
just be a good human. Use it to be a good human,
just
which is
display that
it,
shit, like show it,
yeah.
like
So yeah, just it doesn't have to be the way it is now.
right,
Like in some cases, but I don't the good that some religions have done,
right,
great. Community and service and all of that
right.
stuff. But the true I always thought about if I'm Buddhist, so I don't
Okay.
know much about Christianity.
Right.
But, if I took everything at face value and that Jesus was this person and he had this philosophy, and if everybody lived the way he says we're supposed to live,
We'd be
I don't
Buddhist.
think we would I just don't think we would have this mess, what I'm saying? But they aren't really living the way they've kind of corrupted some
Oh my
extreme
God.
religions have
Like
corrupted it.
seriously, if
So
literally if Jesus Christ came back right now, if you're gonna go off of like what you learn about him, first of all, he's not gonna come back he's not gonna come back looking like a hippie. You know, like the original
mm,
interpretation is long hair, white hippie dude. He's gonna come back looking like whoever the vulnerable people of the world are, you know, who's
right.
and then
Yeah.
he's gonna sit there and feed everybody and help everybody, and then he's gonna like take out all the religious bigots because he's like, use my name for everything horrible. I didn't die for your
Yeah.
bullshit. You use my father's name for every fucking horrible thing that has been done historically, and you know, burning a cross. Really, who thought of that? Really?
Yeah, it's undermined what the original intent of this person if he
Right.
existed, right? And if you transported him,
They
to the
would kill him.
present, he would it would be different. And so I don't it's just I don't think that they're following. There's certainly a huge number that are, but just there's just enough loud squeaky wheels that have
Right.
corrupted religion that it's, statistically there are fewer and fewer people who attend church or believe in God or
Right.
follow.
So
And so it's really a turnoff for people when they're like, well, you're not really doing what you said
right.
you were going to do. And
Like
um
like
that's the hard part.
I grew up Catholic, and and you could apply this to well, even right now with Jewish people and Zionism in Israel, but you could apply what you've been taught. And then you look at like the system, and it's like the Catholic Church is so big that there's a separation between the parishioners who try to do right. Like my mother-in-law, she's very loving, very
Mm,
giving. My mom, try to do good. But then you start hitting up and you go through the bishops, and then you start going the hierarchy. And it's like, so why is the
mm,
Vatican one of the most powerful like institutions in the world? Why do you keep referring to the Pope with global matters? Like why is that? Like it no other really, not even like
yeah.
not even the Dalai Lama or any religious person. He's really, he's really big, but you don't see him entered into the conversation. And it's just like you look at the history of the Vatican, and so it's like you guys have thousands of years of history hidden within your shit, and it's like
Mm,
you don't you pick and choose any little thing in the Bible, and it's like, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you mention that
yeah.
Jesus's first disciples were all his friends that were prostitutes, and the fact they were women. You don't want to
Mm,
talk about that. And it's just
yeah.
these stupid things, and it's just like, well, how does that make sense? And then you have like you see an argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson and Ben Shapiro talking about trans people, and he's like, why does this fucking matter? And it's like you're
Yeah,
using that
it's
shit, and it doesn't. There's no
yeah,
logic behind it. There's no anything. You're just science is about freedom and understanding how things work, and you're
yeah.
talking about just being a bigot and using religion with it, and
Right.
it doesn't make any
Hey,
sense.
you can be a bigot without religion. Like, why
Right,
corrupt? Right? Just own it. You know what I mean?
right,
Like, why just justify it just to say that's my opinion? Why corrupt a religion to justify your opinion? We have a family saying that we always say to each other, just be a good human. How hard
right,
can it be? Right? Don't be an asshole. And you know what it means to be a good person, right? It's like, yeah, when people say, well, the Bible says this, or they use religion, I'm like, you don't have to have an excuse to feel that way. You don't have to have historical basis or even science to prove how you feel. You can
right,
just say, this is my opinion,
right,
and you're entitled to it. And I'm just kind of like, you do you. Like
right.
Catholic Church, just you're over there, and
But
and,
it's
and I'm over here, and
but my thing is, it's just like, I guess what I guess we're trying to say is the fact that it's like, so if you're solid in that and you believe the Bible is concrete, why are there like so many interpretations, and why are there so many different
mm,
religious sects of Christianity? It's like, if it's solid originally, like, why'd you fuck with that? Like, the Catholics were the first to do it,
yeah,
and then you have,
mm,
like, and you come here, United States, and it's like, so how many different sects of, like, Christianity are there? And then you
yeah,
look at it, right? It's not, and I'm not saying, like, Islam is perfect and Muslims are perfect, and I'm not saying that, like, Judaism is perfect or imperfect, but it's like this whole thing where like human beings just gotta fuck with everything and adjust it to your liking, and it's like, why are you doing this? Like, you don't
yeah,
change, like and it because it reminds me of like you have flat earthers and they try to use it, and it's just like you're trying to just make science gross and stupid, and because you can't deal with the
yeah.
facts. And it's like the same thing, because I might be a Christian if like you had told me about the Nephilim and all the cool craziness of
Mm,
the Bible. Like, could go through the whole thing. Like, you expect me to believe in a higher entity, but then you're gonna take away the story of the Nephilim and all this other shit, and it's just like you just jump through everything, you know.
Yeah.
And that's, I guess, my issue is like it can be so easily manipulated to what you want,
Right.
and it's like,
I am, yeah, I'm incredibly unknowledgeable about Christianity. And when people try to talk to me, or in some cases they try to convert, if
right, of
they
course,
hear you're not a Christian, and it just kind of, it's like, I'm very happy for them that they have found something that they believe in and
right,
that they think they can build their lives around, because not everybody has that.
right,
But like you said, it's like if you find 1,000 different Christians, or people who are very religious, they have, the interpretation is so varied. It's just kind of like, I'd just like to live a simpler life. I
I
don't know how
mean,
to live by this Bible. It's
right,
very, and there's so many different types of Christianity,
right,
and I've been to a lot of different churches just with friends and for family events and things, and it's so different. We lived in Texas for a while, go to a Baptist church. Then I've got family that's Catholic, go to those services, completely different. And so it's like, I just can't follow the thread. I'm
right,
happy for them. I don't discount the good, but I just, again, I'm like, you do you and I'll do me. And I hope you get what you want out of it, and
right,
be, just be a good person. It shouldn't be, you know,
uh, right.
controversial.
Right.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think we should study, different religious texts and beliefs, and you can take you can take the good out. The 10 commandments are basic laws of man or woman, laws of
Mm,
humans. You don't steal, you don't kill. Like, I don't need
right.
I don't need a book tell me that, and you go into Judaism, and it's like, it's deeper. You go to Islam, and it's even deeper, more intricate. And I feel like your parents can teach you this stuff. Like, your elders and the people who raise you can teach it,
Mm,
because it's like just a natural feel. It's like you don't naturally want to kill somebody unless you're a fucking psychopath. Like,
yeah.
it's a natural thing, in my opinion, just based off of children. Like, they don't know meanness. They come out sweet, and they want to play, and they smile and laugh. You teach them the ugliness, then that's where it starts, unless they have, they got issues, they're brain damaged or something. But for the most part, it's like babies and kids, what they do, they smile, like they cry out of necessity. They don't, they're not first thought is like, oh, throw, hit, and I get
Right.
pleasure out of pain. And, so I think that it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't need a religious text to tell me to do the right thing, because it's like that shit already
Yeah.
existed.
And it just seems like the major religions have more in common than they do not in common, but they vehemently disagree on the parts that they don't have in common, and they don't appreciate the parts that they have in common. So
Right,
there's it's like, it feels slightly off topic, but like there's this video of babies playing in a room, and the observers introduce snakes into the room, like non-venomous,
right,
not dangerous snakes, right? And the babies just pet the snakes and let the snakes climb all over them, because they haven't been taught to fear them, or that there's like any kind of biases or stereotypes or whatever you want to call
right,
them about these snakes, because they're like, well, it's not hurting me, you know, and they aren't, they're not a colorful deterrent, you know what I mean? Like the
right,
coral snake. So there's none of the instincts that humans have of danger, because they're just innocuous snakes. They aren't there to hurt them. And
right,
so I always found that interesting about the things that we teach our children, the society teaches them, is so influential
right.
compared to what you're just born out of.
I
So
mean, I was a kid, and luckily my mom, like, we didn't always get along after, I became a teenager. It was like gross. But she raised me with some just basic needs. And we were middle class, we lived in a house, and we lived in the suburbs. We had, we were comfortable, um but my mom would help people, and just random people if they were in need. And one time there
yeah.
was this kid, and he had no shirt on. It was summertime, California though, so it's, but he was hungry or whatever. So I gave him donuts, and then I went in the car, and I started crying because I was like, why is he hungry? Like I just couldn't understand that,
Yeah.
and that just was my first instinct was like, all right, help and share, and like my granddaughter, she just shares
Mm-hmm.
everything, and I'm like, I'm so proud of her, and like I know we're doing a good job because her first instinct is like love and sharing and caring and being
Right.
inclusive, and that's, you look at kids and it's like all that. You see the mean ones is when they start to get older and they hung out with that older kid, older relative, mom and dad, grandpa, who taught them the N-word and taught them ugliness and difference
Mm-hmm.
is bad, and it's just I think it's just unnatural to be
They're just
evil.
sponges. They're just
Yeah,
sponges. The kids are, and their basic nature is to just take care of each other. I mean, it's a pack instinct, right? And so we unlearn that as humans, in my opinion. And so, like, I care that my kids are successful and happy, but as long as they're kind
right,
humans and will maybe even go a step beyond and stand up for what the right thing to do is,
right,
that's important to me. And so that's all I want for them is to be a good person. And
right.
kind of measures of success are secondary to that. But I have to go in like
I gotta
three
go.
minutes,
Yeah.
Sean. Yep, yep. But it was good to talk to you. It's nice to meet you.
You too,
You
and I
know,
appreciate
yeah.
the shit out of you. And man, we did this for an hour, and I swear I was like, it's only been 30 minutes, and I looked up, I'm like, holy balls, we're doing good. This is exactly what I do, and I appreciate you being part of this. Like I said, I think everybody has a great story, and you just displayed that, and I really appreciate you, and I think you're great. And I'd like to bring you back on because like um couple of times I'd love to talk to you more about science and the little, your experience, and then your comedy, like what do you plan on doing and stuff, because everybody's got their thing. So um
Sure.
I appreciate you, Val, and I hope to have you back on, and you hope you and your family are well, and you take care. All right.
Yep. You too, Sean. Take care of that grandbaby.
I will. You too.
Talk to you later.